واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى قيام يوم الدين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اجتنبوا كثيرا من الظن إن بعض الظن إثم ولا تجسسوا ولا يغتب بعضكم بعضا ويحب أحدكم أن يأكل لحم أخيه ميتا فكرهتموه واتقوا الله إن الله تواب رحيم. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات وصل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We are blessed to come together in the gathering of angels, that you might see maybe only a few mu'mineen realize and accept and believe that in this gathering, wherever it may be, even if it is in a person's home, that one of the attendees of this Majlis is the Ahlul Bayt. So imagine if you are sitting in a place and the only person sitting next to you is one of the Imams of the Ahlul Bayt. I don't think he'll be in attendance. We were talking about Husnul Dhan and to think positively about everything. We said the first recipient of should be God, that we should take God positively, think positively about God. Whatever He does to us, you don't know what the outcome is, but you take it positive, the outcome will be good and great. Whether something, calamity befalls you, poverty, take it as good. The poverty is good for me. In fact, if, as we mentioned the hadith, that Allah says, I am at and with, alongside the opinion of about me. If he thinks good about me, I'll be good with him. If he thinks negatively about me, I'll be negative with him. So some sort of a reactivity. Inshallah, today we'll answer this question. What does this hadith try to say? What is it trying to mean? Is it reactive by Allah or it is not proactive? The issue is somewhere else. And then we aspect some examples where we might have some negative thoughts. For example, if a person does not have rizq and he is told by Allah, give charity. Even if you don't have money, give out charity. But I don't have money. If you believe that Allah is the provider, positively thinking about Allah, then even that small amount of money will have barakah. That one should have about Allah. Likewise, we talk about not only maybe a case where Allah has told you to do so. There are times when Allah, when we are falsely hoping in Allah, even that Allah appreciates from us. As we mentioned the hadith and the story, where the person was being sent to hell, and the hadith is telling us the person will be returned, enter into Jannah because he had that hope that Allah will put him into Jannah, even though he did not do anything. That is how Allah wants us to think about him. We talked about the fact that the Hujjah are telling each other to make sure to actualize and realize the good opinion of others about them. If they believe that this Imam will do good, I go to Ziyarah and I expect my dua to be accepted, then I should not doubt when I come back that my dua has been accepted or not. Imam is being told by Imam Ali alayhi salam is telling Imam Hassan, when a person is having a good opinion about you, make sure you actualize it. Therefore, if we hope good in them or in Allah, do you think actualize that good hope? And not likely. And finally, we were talking about with mu'mineen that there are many other concepts, by the way, that maybe I should just touch upon one more. That he talked about some people being task-oriented, some people being people-oriented. If you see a person, for example, he speaks very directly to you, and he tells you, we need to do this thing. Then you give him an opinion, then he said, no, I don't think so. Maybe we should do like this, the work will happen. Thinking about what you are thinking. It's not empathic. If I was a negative thinking person, I'd say, this guy doesn't have good akhlaq. But if I know what's behind and under the iceberg, I might realize that this person's nature is like that. He has to improve, definitely, to become more people-oriented also, not only task-oriented. But the fact that I realize is like this, it can change my life, not only his life. My understanding, my reaction, my ability to work with him will change. Positive thinking. For example, I remember we were talking to one of the youths, and we were talking about a youth that was very, you can say, lost in a way. A nice person, but lost. Then we tried to ask his parents. One parent is a very rough person. Another parent was not a very, was a carefree person. And in the result, he's carefree and he's a bit harsh and aggressive. It came from the family background. If I did not think about that part, I would always think negative. This person is a gone case. Not realizing it's coming from the parents. And therefore, if I want to positively think, I'll have to see how I can take him out of this upbringing that he has come upon. Today, inshallah, we'll be talking about the other side, which is pessimism. So we talk about the negative thoughts. Where are they coming from? You would think if the positive thinking is something oriented to Allah, then where is the negative thinking coming from? As we know, there are two systems working in the universe. System of Allah, system of Shaitan. In order to simplify this, there is one of the few verses at the beginning of Al-Kafi, the chapter of Aql, Surah Al-Kafi, talks about a person coming to the Imam and telling the Imam that there's a lot of waswas, he's very doubtful in things. The Imam tells him, ask that person, where do you think that waswas is coming from? So the man said, definitely from Shaitan. When you start doubting, many people you might have seen, we have waswas, especially for those who have just become a bit religious. The first thing shaitan comes and does to us is waswas. Do wudu, you take, for example, 5 minutes. If you were to go behind thinking, why is this person repeating his wudu? Why is he repeating his salah a lot? Why does he have so much waswas? You will come to find out it's because he has a negative opinion about Allah. When he believes that if I do incorrectly, Allah will punish me. That's his negative thinking. If I do my wudu incorrectly, why don't you think that Allah will do? Because you did it out of jahalat and ignorance. That is another positive thing you think about Allah. With rahmah, you consider Allah to be merciful. For example, those who become baligh at 9, when you see their salam, it's obvious they are not praying proper salam. Majority of them are not praying proper salam. Their hijab might be not correct. Maybe they pronounce it, something like that. So if you were to be a strict parent and tell your child, recite correctly, stand here, do like this, do like that, because if you don't do like this, Allah will punish you. Feeling in the child negativity about Allah. If you do some small mistake, Allah will slap you, Allah will hurt you, Allah will punish you. That is negativity we are putting, and because we are negative about Allah. And that's when the child will start become waswas. Because every time they think, if I do this, I will get this punishment, I have to be scared, I have to do it. But if they take Allah with rahmah, they will say, this is the way I know, Allah has told me this is fine, let me move forward. In fact, this is also, when you are saying this is from shaitan, we have in the verse of the Quran, if you look at this verse in this angle, you will see negativity from within shaitan. Shaitan himself was negative about Allah. And when he was told to do sajda, then he did not accept. And then he blamed Allah for it. What did he say in verse number 16? He says, قَالَ فَبِمَا أَغْوَيْتَنِي, for the fact that you misguided me, Allah. Allah, you are the misguider. Not real, I am misguiding myself. I am the one who do not accept. Negative about Allah. لَقْعُدَنَّ لَهُمْ صِرَاطَكَ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ. Therefore, I will misguide others also. The same thinking is about Allah, that He is the one to blame for all my problems. He will instill that in us and tell us that you also think whatever problem you have, Allah is the cause of it. And we have actually seen, for example, there was a lady. This is a concept where again, yesterday we mentioned, if you want this thinking of positivity to enter into the heart, you have to repeat it. You might be an alim, you might be a scholar, but if it has not entered the heart, it's just useless information. So this lady in the Hausa, masters in a particular area, she even wrote a thesis on some issues that the youth are facing and how to resolve them. Very interesting article. There came a situation for her because she had a mother that passed away and the brothers were not really supporting her. The mother died and then bala came on her. And we are told by the scholars, and you will also have experienced this, if you want to see the true person, look at them when bala strikes. The true nature comes out. For me, if I become angry is when you see my true nature. That's when the bala came on. This lady, when the mother passed away, handling it alone without the brother's help, when the mother passed away, she suddenly, for a few days, she was trying to speak, as you say, kufr. She was starting to blame Allah. Allah, why have you so much musibah on me? Why so much bala on me? Lady, Hausa, masters, helping others, writing articles. At the end of the day, when the bala came, her true colors showed. And then she returned back and did her istighfar. But even we should not be safe and feel safe that we are not negative about Allah. When the bala comes, we will know our true nature. Recite the salawat, please. Allahumma Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. For example, also the economic issue that was there and is still there. In fact, in Iran, it's become worse. There was a time when I went and there was an economic issue at that time. Also a taxi driver, I'll tell you both this. Went to the barber is telling me that you see the economic issue, in a few days out with guns and start shooting and then there will be chaos in the whole city. Barber is saying. Regular layman doesn't know what the system of Allah is about. Also, I was in the taxi telling me that, every government usually 30, 40 years, then they collapse. They don't last too long. just before I left. So even Iranian government, it's a government that will last for maybe 20 years. You see, Israel with all their might have not been able to collapse Iran. Do you think this negative thinking of people will collapse it? It won't. While on the other hand, when this economic issue happened and the hijab issue happened, our teacher was asked, what is the reason for all this? What do you think is happening? What is Allah's wisdom behind it? So he's trying to filter out the bad guys from the good guys. Positive thinking about Allah. It's a bala on the whole of Iran. Positive thinking from negative. When Israel attacked recently, you have seen, Iran, one of the biggest achievements in Iran was the people became united under the banner of Wilaya, of Marja'iyah. They realized that this is now the true leader who is supporting us. All this year they didn't. When the bala came, everyone became united. Positivity out of something very much of a bala. So the best way to come out of this, because the society, shaitan especially, will come and put waswas in our mind. Think negatively, think bad about this person, think bad about Allah. The best way to come out of this is to the other way, the reverse, the alternative thinking. For example, Allama Tabatabai, one of the advisors for, as you know, that husn al-dhan, or rather su al-dhan, thinking negatively about others, Allah, is a sin. It's one of those sins that are not actions, that are, for example, if I have an evil intention to do, for example, a haram act, if I do not do it, Allah will not count it. But husn al-dhan, su al-dhan is not like that. Su al-dhan, thinking negatively about others, can be called a sin. As you saw in the verse of the Quran, inna ba'da ithm, some of this guman, some of this assumption that we have in our mind are sinful. They are counted as sins. Although I did not act it, I just thought about it. It can be sinful. It's an internal heart-based action that can be sinful. And this negativity, the point that it leads to the second greatest sin of Islam, as mentioned. That is hopelessness in Allah. When you say, I'm tired of this world, I'm tired of the test, why is it testing you so much? The second greatest sin of Allah, in front of Allah, which is hopelessness, yes, comes out of it. Therefore, we need to reverse. I'll give you 3 examples, make it a bit more hands-on. For example, what I practice myself, once in the class, a student came late. He was a usual latecomer. When he came inside late, the first thing that came into my heart was, this person is coming late always. Today when he came late, he's very lazy. Then you reverse it. You say, no, maybe today he had something in his mind. Maybe he was busy today. Negative thought came in, but you reverse it. You fight it. That's what Allama is telling us. You fight that negative thought. He realized after the class that, yes, today was a special case. Today was a day that he had an issue with his license, car license, and that's why he was late. So out of 100% chance he was maybe lazy. 10% he was not lazy. Do you want to risk that 10%? Do you want to fall into sin by negatively thinking about others? Another person, I think twice now in the Jummah, that whenever people finish their salah, they open their phone because they are probably expecting their dua has been kabul, so they got a message, the dua is kabul. So next to me was sitting, and just as the salah finished, he took out his phone. So even in my mind, it was, person is using his phone. Maybe he was phone and what somebody has messaged him inside the salah. I said, no, maybe he has something important to do. You never know. Realized he was going to recite dua. So he had to take out his phone to check. Negative thinking can be reversed if you force yourself. There will come a time that you tell your nafs so much, don't think negatively, think positively. Although it is in nature thinking negatively because of the environment and the pressure, there will come a time you will start thinking positively about everything around you. We have a hadith that the solution and the kafara of negative thinking is tawakkul on Allah. For example, let's take a simple example. If in my mind, for example, I saw someone came, or rather, for example, I failed in my exam. If I failed in my exam, if I think that now my life is over, so it's done. I did a sinful act. What is the kafara of this sinful thinking negatively that my life is over, Allah has destroyed my life? Is to now think that, rely upon Allah. Oh Allah, you changed my life, you made me fail. I now rely upon your life and take me forward. That is the kafara of su'udan. You have tawakkul on Allah. Now let's move to another stage. So the fact that everything that su'udan, if you have negative thought about Allah, Allah will react the same. If you have a positive thought about Allah, then Allah will also react positively. But that goes against theology, reactive. Now here comes a theological concept. What is the meaning of this? I'll give you 1-2 examples. Hopefully it should clarify some part of it. So for example, to the restaurant, and they tell you that let's go tonight, we are going for dinner. They did not tell you where. If in my mind I have thought that this person is going to take me to a cheap restaurant, give me cheap food. So what do? Will I keep myself hungry and then go eat with him? Will I wear nice clothes? No. I'll wear simple, basic clothes. Maybe one torn clothes if necessary. Because of what I think about that person, my action changed. I might even eat before I go to the restaurant. I say, I don't know, maybe you won't give me enough food over there. With Allah, it's similar. If I think negatively about Allah, it's I'm going to the ocean of Allah's mercy after the bala, and I go with a spoon. I say, Allah will not give me much. Here, I'm just taking a spoon. Let me take 1 spoon and it will give me only this. But if I think positively about Allah, I bring a container, a tank with me. Oh Allah, I have faced bala, I don't care. I'm going to bring my tank, you fill my tank with water. I think positive. So you will get that full amount of water. The ocean is the same. My tank, my container, my vessel that has changed. Likewise with Allah, if positively, we are actually allowing Allah to give us more mercy. We are opening the doors for Allah's mercy to enter. But if we think negatively, we are constricting our own self. We are constricting our own heart. We are not having that function of heart. Recite the salawat. Another concept we mentioned, another nice philosophical concept, that we said that when a person thinks negatively about another, there is a connection between mu'mineen that is broken. So, for example, the example that we gave yesterday, where in the experiment I quickly mentioned, I just remind you that when a person, for example, he's not looking at the crowd, he's facing elsewhere, and if you stretch his hand out, if you call his name out, if you push his hand down, it is a bit difficult to down, he's stronger. But if you call someone else's name, it is a bit weaker. In fact, even if you don't call a name, tell the crowd by ishara and by signal that think positively about this person, and then you move his hand stronger. By ishara, you tell them that think negatively about this person. You see the hand is weaker. My thoughts psychologically affected this person, physically. Now, if my thoughts can affect a person's actions and his strength, then what about when it comes to existentially? We have been told in our Islamic philosophy that when you are created by the same God who has given you existence, He has given you existence, He has given you existence, you are connected to each other by existence, by Allah, by your spirit, by your ruh. Therefore, if you have a negative thought about another, that connection breaks existentially. In fact, if you have a similar, you can now also decipher one of the hadiths that tells us that those who have done, for example, who have lied, they will be given a certain punishment. They'll be given a punishment together as a group. Why as a group? Should deserve his own punishment, this person should deserve his own punishment. Why are you giving them in groups? When our characteristics, our actions, our traits become similar, our existence, our spirit becomes similar. Why is it that we will be put with the Ahlul Bayt? Inshallah. Why? Because our existence now is starting to match and connect to the Ahlul Bayt. Therefore, naturally, if you are connecting naturally to something, you will be put together because you are connected. It's like water. Put a water and you put oil, they will not mix. But water molecules among themselves, they will mix and they'll become one. What do you call liquid? while the other one oil will be, but they will not mix. Likewise, if I am thinking positively about another, I am actually connecting myself to them. And therefore, you will see the effects. For example, a person is feeling sad. If I think positively about him, I will also feel sad. But if I think negatively about him, I will not feel sad. Imams, the same. Somewhere else in another land, he used to feel for the other people around them because he used to think positively. The connection, the spiritual connection was there because of this positivity. But if I have negative thoughts, I'm broken. I do not feel for the other people. So we need to maintain this spiritual connection with others by our thoughts, by our action, by our thoughts. Can break or make a connection. We have this hadith from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wa alihi wasallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. It says, "Ata'im Shakir afdal min as-sa'im as-samit." That a person who is eating is thankful to Allah is more afdal, meritorious, and better than the one who is fasting but is quiet. By quiet here meaning is unhappy, so he's quiet. If I internally am not happy with Allah and I'm not fasting, and I'm fasting rather, if I'm not happy with Allah and I'm fasting, the fast is less worthy than the one who's not fasting but is happy with Allah. What is the difference? The action of Saum is better than eating. It's a different thing. It's the internal characteristic, it's the sifat that is there inside us. If our internal attributes are good, then the action is fruitful. As we know, the famous hadith that our niyat and our intentions make our actions. For a simple example, it's again mentioned in Al-Kafi, one of the first hadiths. He comes to Allah and tells Allah that he sees a worshipper. It's a very famous story. He sees a worshipper and he says that I want to see the reward of this. When Allah showed him the reward of that servant who was very much worshipping Allah, he saw it was very less. It was not much. Then Allah told the angel to go down and be with that person. As the angel came down in human form to be with that person, he asked to be with that person, with the worshipper. The worshipper did not recognize he is an angel from the Bani Israel era. Then the worshipper tells the angel that look at, he's worshipping Allah profusely as the angel witnessed. He sees this greenery. Imagine a great worshipper in a great green place, nice environment you enjoy. That this is how Allah wanted the earth to be. This worshipper is telling the angel, it would have been better if Allah would have sent, for example, an animal to graze and eat up all this grass. Asraf like this. The same worshipper who is worshipping Allah continuously, in his mind, in his heart, not his actions, in his heart, he believes Allah is not doing the wise thing. Worshipper, according to Allah, has very less benefit. There's no benefit probably even. On the day of judgment, he might go there and see his reward is very less. Because the purpose for which you are created is to connect with Allah. Your actions, your ibadat was the means. You have to start from inside also. This is why when we are told in إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, you need that iman inside you. And then وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. You need that action to be coupled with the iman, with the shukr and all this sifat. However, you might think that this is now wishful thinking. Think everything positive about others, don't think negatively. This will not work. This doesn't work in this society. So yes, we have been told there are some situations where you need to be taking a bit of precaution and ihtiyat. For example, there are, I believe, two principles you can take. Where, for example, the reason for what you are thinking is dangerous. It's a bit, you have to be careful about it. It might harm you if you think too positively in that situation. For example, a boy comes for proposal and he wants to ask the hand of a girl. The father says, this boy, inshallah, is a good boy. No problem. I accept you as my son-in-law. Not the place to be fully positively thinking. By default, you say, inshallah, is a good person, but you don't take it for granted. You have to research also. Because in the future, you don't know what if it's not a good person. It will harm another person. Or for example, governmental, political. If, for example, a country, a Muslim country, is trying to be friends with the enemies and say, inshallah, these are good people. They won't do anything harmful to us. This is not the place to be positively thinking. This is a place to be careful, because the enemy, you can't trust them. So the place where there's a big harm, the potential harm, should avoid that place. We have also a hadith that says that if there's an environment where it is known that these people are bad, then you should be having positive thoughts about them, because it's going to hurt you. There's more potential of damage than it is benefit. And the second place where you will not be too wishful is when you have knowledge, when you have ilm. If you know this person is bad, then don't think positively about it. Once came asked me, then you are saying we should always be positively thinking, then what about Yazid? You should have positive thinking about Yazid, that maybe in the last moments he asked forgiveness from Allah. It's very simple. We know he did not. When you have knowledge that this person was not a good person, then you don't think positively about him, because we know he's a bad person. But knowledge, there are many instances you can have. Knowledge and where there is a potential harm, these two places are not the place of having positive thoughts. But generally, we should always be by default positively thinking. In fact, there is a joke that's very famous among the Hausa teachers and students. A person who was always waswas. So once, in order to remove this disease from him, they told him, you go out and you stay outside. We have something to do with your room. When he went away, they took a dog and they made the dog, and they threw the dog into his room. The dog started jumping everywhere, throwing water all around. Everything became najis. The dog left. The man came. He saw that a dog has come. The whole place wet. They told him, now what will you do? You are too waswas now. Now what will you do over here? This person said that, inshallah, it was not a dog, it was a cat, inshallah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. There is also one other, and this I will end over here, one other creature that we should be negatively thinking about. It's not Allah, it's not others, general believers, but this being is very close to me. This person needs to be always thought negatively about. And our ulama are telling us, if this person thinks negatively about this other person, maybe the same person, then it's beneficial for him. Who am I talking about? Ourselves. Never is to be good spiritually. We always should be telling ourselves we are not doing enough. Even though we see that we are doing, and we are not doing enough. We have so many examples in history. Imam alayhi salam is being told, you are doing so much ibadah, Imam Zainabiyyah. He takes the book of Imam Ali alayhi salam, the ibadah of Imam Ali, and says, what is my ibadah compared to Imam Ali alayhi salam? I'm not doing enough. Imam Ali, if you'd ask him, you are doing so much ibadah, 1,000 rakats in the month of Ramadan, it takes around 10 hours. Imam, you are doing great ibadah. Imam will say, what ibadah I'm doing in front of the Prophet? And this is not false thinking even. How do we know that when we were doing the, let's say we recited 100 rakah in the Laylatul Qadr, how do we know that 100 rakah was with a pure intention? We don't know. So do we know if it's accepted or not? We don't know. How do we accept it? We don't know. It's all ghaib. Therefore Allah has kept it ghaib so that we do not become proud and think everything we are doing is good. It's not going to hurt anybody. It's going to help you grow. It's not a case whereby I'm not doing anything, that means I stop doing everything. No. It should motivate you. I'm not doing enough, so let me grow now. It's not enough. That is not enough. Let me grow further. Oh, I've done these good deeds, but my Imam did better than me. That is why they are role models. They have reached a level that we cannot reach. If we would have reached there, then we say, now we are Imam. Now Allah has kept role models. He knows this. Nobody will reach this status. But it's a path you can take. At every stage, you can tell yourself, I have not reached them. I have not reached them. That is how we will always keep on growing. Therefore, pessimism, call it pessimism. Thinking yourself to be nothing in front of Allah is a positive thought that can help you grow. Again, in Dua Arafah, as we mentioned, Imam Hussein alayhi salam mentions, Ya Mawlaya, Anta alladhi an'amt a very amazing part of this dua. It says, "Oh Allah, you are the one. Anta alladhi ahsan. You are the one who did good. Anta alladhi ajmalt. You are the one who beautified. Everything positive about Allah." Masum Imam turns back to himself. Ana alladhi asat. I am the one who was sinful. Amazing connection with Allah. I think this is a bad thought, not Islamic. Imam Hussein al-Islam, when Arafat is saying, I am the one who's sinful, you are the one who blessed. Ana alladhi akhtat. I am the one who did a mistake. Masum, I did a mistake, not you, Allah. By all we see in this, we saw it in Karbala, that Bibi Zainab, although she faced so much difficulty, never in her mind a negative thought came about Allah. She was suffering, she was crying, but she had reached a level of radiyah where she was pleased internally with Allah. Whatever you have done, oh Allah, is good. Let's take ourselves to the land of Syria. Let's stand in front of the Dari and send our salams. Unfortunately today, although we might say it, but it's not possible. Even though in Syria and Sham, they cannot stand in front of the Dari because of the problems that are there. This is one of the musibah of Bibi in today's age. That those who want to give her condolences cannot come to her, give condolences. So Bibi, like those who are there, we also want to give our condolences from afar. Assalamu alayki ya Zainab. Zainab is Masaib. She has seen lots in her lifetime. She saw the passing away of her grandfather Rasulullah. She saw her died out in the court of the Khulafa. Only she understood how her mother stood there with her broken rib. She understood the cries of her father Ali. When did he cry? As he buried her mother, saying, Kalimini, Fatima, talk to me. Ali has become alone. Ali has become alone. He has no one to talk to. What is another masibah that she saw? She saw the night when Hassan Salaam is on his deathbed with the family around him. They see Hassan trembling as his liver hurt by the poison. But she never thought negatively about Allah. She bore patiently all this trouble. A lot of things, a lot of troubles. And she has learned a lot from this. That is why she is called Aqila. The lady, she was there. Let me take you to an incident where she witnessed something. She was there when Ali alayhi takes the hand of Hussein. Ya Ali, what are you planning to do? He takes the hand of Abbas and he places it on the hand of Hussein. From today onwards, Abbas is under your care, Ya Hussein. Let there not come a time when Hussein is alone in Karbala. Oh Hussein, don't let Abbas out of your sight. One of the reciters, he says, there were times in Karbala, Imam Hussein screamed out of grief. It is said that Imam Hussein cried in 3 places, but in one special place he screamed aloud out of grief. The first place loudly when he saw Ali Akbar on the ground. Ad-dunya ba'daka al-afa. This world has no meaning. Imam Hussein cried out loudly the second time.
The second time was when he saw the body of Qasim trampled under the horses. He cried loudly and intensely, "This is the son of my brother." When is the time that he screamed loud? It is said when he saw that horse had a rider, the rider high with an arrow, the rider whose hand was cut off, as he fell on the ground of Karbala on his face. At that time, when Imam Hussein stood next to him, he sat down. Fabaka, and he cried so loudly, "No, no!" He screamed out loudly, "Oh Abbas, after this time my back is broken." There is one statement Imam Hussein mentioned here. "Oh Abbas, after this time, the enemies will now start making fun of me, because now they will look at the tents of Zainab and they will attack. No one is there to protect her." وَسَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَيَّ مُنْقَلَبٍ يَنْقَلِبُونَ إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ.
कराना अल्लाहुम्मा रज़ुक़ना ज़ियारतल हुसैन अल्लाहुम्मा रज़ुक़ना शिफ़ातल हुसैन करबला जाने वालों करबला जाने वालों करबला जाने वालों.
السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى